Part 5, how the poor and rich behave differently. One of the behaviors of the poor, they love to get attention, especially from stories where they are the victim. They spend many hours on social media. Very interesting, something that was starting to become more prevalent toward the end of my career at the bank. Noticed that people who were poor generally talked more about social media and interactions on social media than people who were rich, or people who were on their way to being rich. The rich are cautious how they receive attention. They spend time on social media. Very few people stop and think, okay, how am I receiving attention right now when that's happening, right? If you're the victim of the story, whether you like it or not, when you receive social attention, that is a reward for your brain. Period. You cannot control that. You will not be able to out-manipulate it. Nope, it's a reward. So, one of the things that I noticed was the people who were on their way to being rich again, or rich, or people who had the behavior of the rich were very careful how they received attention. They wanted to make sure they were receiving attention in which they were the actor in their life, not the victim. Go watch any random movie and almost always you'll find that the story is about a victim. That's what Americans find very interesting, even though in reality what ends up happening is you tell a negative story, not a positive story. Victims believe things happen to them. Actors believe they do things, right? John faces a problem at work, talks to all of his friends about it, tweets about it, posts on Facebook. Later, John is fired from his job, usually because of all of this, which feeds another victim story. So now he's in this cycle where he's constantly getting attention from being a victim. Jason faces a problem at work, reflects, and privately works on it. It's very interesting. I talked to people, again, at the bank who they were, for instance, declined for a credit card when they were trying to build their credit. What would the poor do? Complain, whine, gripe. What would the rich do? They're quiet. It's just completely contrasting behavior. They were going to go tweet about it and complain and gripe and post on their Facebook account. By the way, look at Facebook in general. Who created Facebook? Mark Zuckerberg, right? Who uses Facebook? Well, a lot of people do. Now, consider this, that probably, before it's over with, most people will spend probably about a half a year of their life on Facebook, complaining about problems. I mean, if I were to go mine Facebook, I mined Twitter at one point in my life, it was just pretty much 90% whining, getting attention about being a victim. That was pretty much Twitter. I would almost bet Facebook is the same. So people spend 6 months of their life on Facebook, which is pretty embarrassing when you consider that there are many things better to do. Mark Zuckerberg created it. What do you think? How much attention does he try to receive from creating Facebook? And before you talk about the films and stuff, those aren't films he created. So he created something that everybody's trying to get attention from, but ironically, he's not. As the old saying goes, watch what they do, don't listen to what they say. Contrasting behavior, right? I mean, Facebook itself is a good example of someone who's rich and then people on it who are not. The poor, they focus on security. What ends up happening is they end up worrying through problems. In this case, John complains about the economy lagging and worries that he may be laid off from his job. The rich focus on solutions. They identify opportunities through problems. Problems are good because that's when there's an opportunity. If everything was good, you wouldn't have very many opportunities. Opportunities come when things get bad. For instance, China has a water crisis, India has a water crisis, California has a water crisis, Texas has a water crisis. And everybody's talking about this water crisis. That's like the opportunity to become the world's first trillionaire. Yes, I say this a lot on this channel. The reason is because that problem means those people are going to buy whatever solution a person comes up with, right? Do you think China cares how strong the dollar is if you have a solution to a drought? Or India? Or any of them? Do you think that even matters? You just solve the drought problem. Yeah, they don't care how strong or weak or whatever the dollar is. All these exporters who complain about a strong dollar, the reason why they're complaining about a strong dollar is because they don't really have solutions to problems. If you had a solution to a problem, it wouldn't matter. So what does Jason do? He identifies problems in the economy and he works on a solution to the problem. The solution itself leads him to starting his own successful venture. Goes back to the whole listening and talking thing. Anytime you hear a bunch of people complaining about a problem in the economy, listen very carefully, because there's an opportunity there. Identify that opportunity. There's a business there. And that's one of the big differences in the rich and poor. Again, they can be starting out from the same place, but the rich are going to see the opportunity and take advantage of it. The poor aren't. And I'll say it again, the next trillionaire in the world is going to be made in water. You're going to have Chinese as your customers, Americans, Indians, probably a lot of other people too in the Middle East.